Okay, so I believe that to this point, Contra is a series that needs no introduction. The series has gained legendary status for its run and gun gameplay, inspiring many others in the near future, including Cuphead. But the thing is, whenever that I hear about the series, people always seem to focus on the original game, completely ignoring whatever came next. But don't get me wrong, I do understand that it came out at the right time, referencing the right things. But still, while I don't know anything about Super C, Contra 3 was awesome. The graphics were better, the music was better, the gameplay was the same, but that's not a bad thing. And come on, don't even get me started with Contra Hard Corps for the Genesis. But that's not even the most interesting part for me, but how it completely went missing after those two. I stopped hearing about Contra for a long while, and the only Contra game I played after that was Neo Contra on my cousin's PS2, and a few minutes were enough to have this game stuck in my mind for years. I swear, to this day, even though my most played game was Contra 3, whenever I hear about Contra, I think of this game. Does that mean the game is great? No. And this is why we're here right now. I really needed to know what this game was. Trust me on this one, if you haven't seen this intro, go check it out. It is awesome and it definitely sets you for the mood of this game. First starting the game, you get a cutscene of a spaceship firing a rocket into Earth, and from that your character emerges. The gameplay in this game is different than what you might be used to, having a top-down camera at all times instead of the 2D scroller that it used to be. You will also notice that there's no weapons to pick up during this game, and that's because you have to pick a set of weapons before you start. You have 3 sets to pick from, and they all have infinite ammo. The first weapon is usually faster, but it doesn't do a lot of damage. The second one is usually stronger, but it fires very slowly. And the third weapon is always a special weapon that can only be used in specific enemies. Like you see a lock on your screen and you have to aim at it while holding triangle to shoot it. You can press X to roll, which wasn't that useful to me, but again, I don't claim to be a pro at this game. You have a delay after rolling, which can definitely get you killed, so instead of rolling away, you can just walk. Something that was interesting to me is why they didn't choose to use both analogs in this game. Instead of having one analog to move and the other one to shoot, you only use the left analog to do both things, with the right one being completely unused. You do get used to it pretty quickly. You can press Alt2 to fix your aim where you're looking, and R2 to look around without moving. But at the same time, I couldn't help but wonder if this game wouldn't feel better if you had more control of your character like that. Maybe it would be too easy? I really don't know. But in the end of this level, you finally get to the boss. This is the reason that this game stuck to me for so long. I simply could not get this guy out of my head. I guess being a fan of body horror helped, but even though I played Contra 3 over and over again as a kid, getting to this boss simply once had me remembering it every time someone mentioned Contra. Not a hard boss though. You shoot him, go down after him, fight a robot while falling down, and finally get to your first bit of story.
You must be the commander.
One of the Neo Contra Elite.
Right the first time! Gorilla Contra is my name.
And he wants to build a weapon to surpass Metal Gear.
I'll grant you a quick death. With my last breath, I hail thee, Master Contra!
Oh, okay. You then get a B ranking, which is for blue tag, the best rank you can get, and move on to the next level, where you're riding a dinosaur as a bike. This level is an auto-scroller basically, so I'll use this time to talk about the music a bit. The soundtrack in this game is amazing. Apparently the guy who made this also made the soundtrack for Castlevania Chronicles 2, though I have no idea how good that one was. It mixes some metal with techno music, and the art style having this cyber and organic look makes everything perfect in my opinion. It seems like complete opposites that mix perfectly with each other. I know music can be subjective though, so I can't say it will have the same effect for everyone. But hey, you're entitled to your own opinion even though yours is wrong. After fighting this thing and entering the facility, you interrupt a fight between some random guy and Plant Contra. He calls himself Mystery G and fights you as a test.
Let's see what you got.
Plant Contra then wakes up and you have to fight him too.
I don't know who you are, and I don't care. But now you've really made me mad. On guard! Serious mode! And clash!
After getting a C rank, which stands for Contra and which is the best rank you can get, you are then thrown out of the volcano. Why? Well, because screw you, that's why. I can't say too much about the graphics in this game, they're pretty basic and sometimes things do look out of place. Like this weird sausage looking alien. I get that it's a run and gun and it doesn't have to look amazing or anything, but just because I don't expect it to look anything better doesn't mean it couldn't impress me. I mean, it would actually be easier to be impressive because it wouldn't be expected. I'm sorry, I'm just rambling at this point. However, the art style is right up my alley. It's not gonna be for everyone for sure, but if you like this type of mechanical things mixed with organic things and body horror, this is for you. There's something that hits me that makes me wanna know more about whatever this thing I'm looking at is supposed to be. However, it seems like they kinda gave up a little after a while. Instead of keeping to it, they end up going way more into the cybernetic side of things. With the bosses of this level, for example, being robots and a mecha. And this girl.
How do you know about me? And who the hell are you?
My. What a cold reception. Now, don't tell me you've forgotten.
I have no idea who that is. After defeating her in a sad monologue...
What are you trying to tell me, Lucia?
Good. Bye.
Well, now I'm glad I had no idea who she was. Yeah, so this cannot get any more insane. You probably noticed that this game doesn't make a lot of sense. That's fine by me, really, but in that case, I really don't know why they tried so hard to make a serious story at some points. I'd rather them just taking the absurdity that happens in this game and going 100% with it. And also, I didn't mention this, but you can select any of the two main characters in this game, but they did Jaguar dirty in this one. He only has a few lines in this game and only serve the purpose of explaining stuff that you might not have caught on to yet.
Hey, wait a minute. I can't believe he was a plant cyborg. I guess this one is Pheromone Contra then. Get ready.
Always the tough guy, Billy dear.
Besides that, the other characters completely ignore him. It's a shame really, because I thought he was such a cool character. And you even unlock some special stuff for him afterwards. Oh, and talking about not making a lot of sense.
And you are?
Animal Contra, the captain of this aircraft carrier.
Wait, if you were truly a captain, you'd go down with a ship.
We won't let you get away!
So yeah, now you go after the last boss. This level goes back a bit to the horror we were talking about before with weird looking monsters. It takes place on this facility where everything is made out of metal, but is covered with flesh. At least what looks like flesh. You see another one of these sausage monsters for the second and last time, and fight this giant tick with a baby face that turns into a moth. You'll then meet this alien which looks like the last boss, but don't worry, we're not done yet. After beating that guy, you meet the Supreme Commander.
I am Supreme Commander of Contra. Commander? You must be Master Contra.
Correct. Incredible. He could be your identical twin.
I am Bill Reiser, the real and original one.
Original one? What do you mean? Are you saying that I'm a clone?
Goodbye, my little pawns.
So that happens. That's the bad ending of the game. To get the good ending, you have to get an overall ranking of B or higher. Isn't it great when games make you play all the way through just to say you didn't do well enough and you have to play through the entire thing all over again? I had to play the game 3 more times to get a B ranking. Not getting hit is not enough in this one. You'll have to get a good hit rate, which isn't exactly a hit rate, but how many enemies you kill during your playthrough. So you can't just rush the game avoiding everything. You have to wait for every enemy to show up, which honestly I didn't like so much. At least I got this new weapon for Jaguar, which is a fire katana, which turns boss fights from this into this. And you finally get a better ranking, Mystery G shows up to save you in the end, and is instantly oofed.
You'll pay for that.
You then go after Master Contra, who reveals he also isn't the real Bill Reiser, and is just his consciousness turned into a weapon. You then fight him again, and again, and after that, so yeah, this game's great. I think it's definitely a lot of fun, and it's probably better to play with a friend, but there is something that will be a deal breaker for most people. The game is about 1 hour long. The rest of the time you spend playing the levels over and over again to get a better ranking. I would recommend it if you can get it for a cheap price, because again, it is fun, but it's insane how short this game is. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this one, and if you did, make sure you leave a like, it really helps me a lot. Oh, and as always, a huge thank you for our new members. Caio Gomes Nogueira, Kaique Miyasato, Brian Malone, Aboix, and Vicarious Nick, which by the way, we made a collab on Burnout 3. He's been making more gaming content now, so make sure you check him out. And I'll see you in the next one. Take care.